this be focused on?
It's so funny because, again, this is something, and again, I do presentations on this for women and for men, and for couples in terms of the introduction of toys. Now, here's the thing, and unfortunately, there has been some misinformation or a lapse of information when marketing these things. It's usually marketed towards single women who don't have a man. And then
Right.
if you want to get freaky with a man, then you introduce this. But usually it was always marketed in some ways as a substitution for a man. And then when you finally meet one, now you're expecting him to compete with the silicone device here.
Right.
However, during this time, again, and you brought up a very good point, again, working together. So this may be a good time to ask the ladies, gentlemen, until while we're working through this together, what else would you like to do so that you could still be satisfied? Now, mind you, you may have had the toy in that particular drawer that you only use in his absence. And this may be a good time to introduce that with him. Because once again, I cannot tell you, again, and clearly we'll probably have to do a part three, or we'll have this on my podcast, and I'll interview you as well, where that coming together and working together and using such products, it will take it to new levels that you both will truly, truly enjoy. Because if you use it in the ways it's sometimes even not the way it's marketed, it will take
Right.
the sex to another level. So I can't say enough of how important that is. So like you said, working together is key in this. And that's just one way that you both can work together.
Absolutely. So we already know, Ronnie, in the perfect world, that sounds great, right? In the perfect world, it sounds great. We sit together, we have this conversation, we talk about toys, right? But we already know that, I just want to let you know, both ladies and men, this is a process. I understand this may not happen overnight. I understand there might be frustration out on the table. There's other issues out on the table. So I just want to encourage you today. Please don't throw in the towel as of yet, because maybe you needed to hear something like this just to give you confirmation that, you know what? I didn't know there was a choice. I didn't know what was wrong with him. So I just want to stop right here real quick as you're listening. Share this with someone. Share this on your page. You never know who's going through this in silence, because there's a lot of people suffering in silence because they don't know what to do. They don't have the education. They don't have the knowledge. And something like this can go a long way, because we know there's a lot of people, because we're speaking to this particular age group, right? Maybe 40s, 50s, 60s, right? We already know sometimes they come from an age where they stuck, right? And they need to get unstuck. But something like this can help them, again, just to get educated on what it is not, what support looks like. And this is not the end, you know? I just had to, because I really feel like there's
Well
somebody that's
said.
watching right now saying that, oh, wow, that's what it is. Yes, that's what it is. Stop, thinking that there's only one exit strategy, because there's so many things out there that's available for you. And again, I'm going to go back to you, Ronnie. I thank you for people in your industry that can sit with these couples and educate them on the other options that they have.
Yes, this is so key, and this is what's so great about your platform, and I thank you for that, because this is bringing this information forward. Because far too often when we're discussing this, it's really very one-dimensional. We're either only talking about the toys, or we're only talking about erectile dysfunction, and you just need to get it fixed. Okay, again, this is there are great resources out there, but make sure that you address it from a very healthy place and not from a place of shame and lack of confidence. So again, find someone, and I consider myself, as a certified clinical sex coach. You know, I've spoken to couples and many single people for a number of years about this. Again, I thank you, Klima, for having this platform and giving people what I feel is yet another resource to speak to someone and connect with someone to get the outcomes that you're looking for in the world, in the space, intimacy and sex.
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Ronnie, for coming up here and just giving your expertise. Again, there's a need for this. I'm here for it. Again, I'm all about having these hard conversations. It's not easy. Ladies, you might need some support. You might need to go to your own separate therapist. Maybe there's some unresolved issues within you. But honestly, I think everyone has to be, excuse me, mature about the situation. Too much immaturity kills relationships because I have a friend now. It's not related to this topic, but I already have a friend who's saying that, I'm tired of this. This is going on in my relationship. And I'm like, but you only been married for 2 years. You're too early to be throwing in the towel. And you have no idea. This me, excuse me, clearing my throat, me being the friend that I am, I'm like, listen, you are only 2 years in. You should not be speaking like this. And a lot of times I hear, but he. Let me tell you something. I understand you are frustrated. And I understand he's not doing certain things that he's supposed to be doing, but he's not doing. I said, but let me shift this to you. I said, first, what I want you to do, I want you to concentrate on you and the part that you can play. I think sometimes women put too much pressure on themselves, right? And we start feeling overwhelmed. And I'm going to go back to the eating because that's important. It stems a lot from that place too. And also, too, men, the drinking. I'm going to get to that in a second. But a lot of women, let me tell you something. The home is a home because of us. We do majority of the shopping. We do the cooking, right? So this is what I told my friend. I said, let me tell you something. You do your part. I said, you go in that kitchen and you make a healthy meal. It is up to him to want to eat it. But at least you did that part and you cooked it. Whatever that you're buying, the supplements, the herbs, whatever you're doing, keep leaving that out. Because what you're doing is saying, I care about you, but I'm going to leave it out and make sure that you take care of it. Because the problem is that she's like, no, you're not doing it. And we have to remember, our men are not our children. They are our men. So you have to give them that choice that they can do it themselves. But again, you're playing your part on what you have to do. So I have to speak that to the way because I know we can get frustrated. And I know our tongues is detrimental. So again, I have to encourage the ladies just to be gentle with your tongue. Now, men, I'm going to get to you. So as far as like going on the health, the drinking, you really need to consider the amount that you intake. And I'm going to tell you this as well, too. When you start to change your eating habits and you want to go more into clean eating, trust me, your desire for alcohol is not going to be there like it once used to. But it starts there. But it starts with the mental because I know you're used to eating a certain way and you're accustomed to it. But you don't want what you're accustomed to kill you. I know too many men that's in that situation. Again, this is about thinking about the bigger picture. We all say, oh, we want to break generational curses. Well, it starts with you first, and it starts with your mindset. It starts with you, well, how am I changing certain things? And then I have to interject this too. A lot of times we'll be like, okay, I'm going to do this, right? It's what you're saying to yourself, but then you still see your habits is still the same. So you're lying to yourself. So it's like, I have to stop you from right there. You have to be open to what your behavior is saying than what you're coming out your mouth because you're trying to figure out, well, why my lady keep telling me that? Because she sees you on what you're doing, but you don't see yourself. So I just want to have you take that self-reflection moment and say, you know what? What did I do through the course of the week? What did I eat? Did I exercise? I want you to have those conversations with yourself because you have to stop and pause and evaluate because you have to see where her frustration is coming from. 9 times out of 10, we don't see where our partner's frustration is coming from because we're all in our head. And we really do think we're doing things a certain way. Even myself, I had went on a fast, and while I was on this fast, I'm gonna bring this up. I was cooking one day, right? And I said, well, while I'm on this fast, I'm going to give up potato chips because I just love potato chips, right? That's like one of my favorites. But I said, I'm going to refrain from it. And I remember one day I was cooking, And I happened to have the bag of chips because I bought it for my kids. And I just took one out and I put it in my mouth. Unconsciously didn't realize what I did. And when I realized, I said, oh, shoot, I can't eat this. And I spit it out. Why am I saying this to you? Because you need to have moments like that. You need to say, oh, I said I wasn't going to do this, and then look what I did unconsciously. That's too many of us. Ronnie, that is too many of us.
Yeah.
I don't really think we really think about the things that we do unconsciously. Let's talk about that part. Let's talk about the mind, Ronnie. Let's talk about, making the changes within ourselves and just catching ourselves.
It all starts in the mind. If there's one thing that I hope those that are tuning in and will listen later have gotten from Kaleem and I, is that it starts with you. And it starts in the mind. You see, until it gets to a point where it becomes a must and not a should, like I should go to the doctor, I should eat better. No, it needs to be I must go to the doctor, I must eat better. Nothing will change. So, really, again, denial can be a powerful thing. And it's one of the most powerful forces in the world, but looking in that mirror and knowing you are not where you need to be health-wise can be a very big eye-opener for many people. So then let's really take a time. And for some of you, it may be like, okay, I'm going to create a whole new grocery list. And that's just going to buy stuff eating that is going to be very different. So pineapple is a very good fruit for that. Watermelon is a very good fruit for that. The foods, as Kaleem said, is very, very important. And I get it, gentlemen. I really, truly get it. Or sometimes we're asking you to do something that you don't want to do. And that is changing and eating more healthy. But I can tell you, it will play in a very, very important part, because one of the ways I really try to address this as I'm talking to people is doing this from a natural space. So it's very good, Kaleem, that you talked about the food, because that's the first line of defense, not just going to a doctor and getting a prescription for something.
Right.
So much of this can be solved just from what we're putting in our body. So, but that starts with a mental mindset change of how it must change and not should change.
Absolutely. And like you said, Ronnie, I understand some men are not going to give up everything, because I understand that. But when you start just making the small adjustments, that right there speaks a lot of volume. That right there, by you saying, instead of me eating fried chicken tonight, I'm going to broil it. Instead of me saying, I'm going to go to the bar and my usual is 4 drinks, I'm going to limit it to 1. Or even changing what you drink. You can say, instead of me having hard liquor, I'm going to drink a glass of wine. All of these things, you can think of. You can actually sit there with your lady and y'all can actually map out, what I need to work on. And it's all about taking the baby steps. And let me tell you something. I was just doing this very recently. I said, a lot of people, right, what we do, we might have the goal in front of our mind, right? So we have that goal in front of our mind. But here's the thing. We're ready to jump through the first hurdle. And it's like, wait a minute, you didn't even take the baby steps. Right? That's like when you're trying to lose weight, right? This is the perfect thing. When you're trying to lose weight, say like you want to lose 20 pounds, right? That's in front of your mind, right? You at the gym lifting 20, and you never like that before, but you at the gym lifting 20 pounds of weight, killing yourself, instead of saying, you know what? Let me start off with the 5 pounds. And with these 5 pounds, I'm going to do 5 reps 3 times. And when I do that, that's going to help to build the muscle. You see what I'm saying? You're exercising the muscle. That's how you have to go into this thinking. You have to start with the baby steps. You can't be trying to run a marathon. It's a sprint. It's not a marathon. It is a sprint.
Right.
Take your time. It's a process. You're probably still trying to process this, and I get it. Take your time, but at least you're showing yourself the respect, and then also too, you're showing it to your spouse. I just have to tell you this: anything that you're determined to do, it has to start with you first. It really does, because when you start doing it for other people, it don't last. But when you say, I love myself and I'm going to make the necessary steps, it just speaks a whole lot of volume.
It does. It does. And it's unique when I have clients who, and I see this all the time, be they client friends, ladies, when it comes to the losing weight, and they don't want to lose, I'm just not motivated. I'm just not motivated. Honestly, Ronnie, I'm not motivated. Until, that man in their life puts an engagement ring on their finger, or there's a girls trip coming up that includes beach and a bathing suit. All of a sudden, the motivation comes out of nowhere. These women are on it because they want to fit into this wedding. So don't tell me it can't happen. Don't tell me it can't happen. It really is a mindset, and that's all working yourself. But instead of working yourself into becoming wedding dress fine or summertime fine, work yourself into becoming lifetime fine. And making sure that this is something that becomes a lifestyle. And trust me, it will be worth it in the end. It will be worth it in the end. And so, since we're back to talking about the gentleman, the same with you. I get it. We were all not built like we were when we were in our 20s, but I'm not trying to get you to be back. I'm trying to get you to a place where, if this is a challenge for you, let's get you right on the right path of eating properly, so that you can be all you can be to you. As you said, you started doing this for us, and then getting back to the lovemaking that you both are so sorely missing during this journey. Listen, tackles on one by one, but it's starting from the food.
Absolutely. And then I want to kick it up a notch because I know we're almost running out of time, but I want to interject this as well. So I'm going to come from a spiritual place. I believe in God. I believe the power in God. I believe in the blood of Jesus. I am there. So ladies, I have to say this too. When it comes to your family and your man, if you might be that spiritual prayer warrior in your family, and I'm going to tell you, intercede on behalf of your man because he needs those prayers. Because guess what? A lot of times, like I said earlier, we know the situation and we think things are going to just happen just like that. It does not happen just like that all the time. There needs some interceding on their behalf. So pray for him. But I understand, Listen, we don't live in a perfect world, Lonnie. And I think too many people are just so willing just to give up. So I just want to encourage someone today. Listen, continue to intercede on your behalf. It might be the man. You might have that relationship. Keep praying to the Lord to help you to find out ways. How can you have this talk with a significant other? Because I know you're going in your head trying to figure it out. But it's just so easy when we take it out our head and just open our mouth and have that conversation. That can kind of help kill, the elephant in the room. Too many times we let it boggle on our minds. So that's just my message to you before you leave. Ron, what's your message to the people before we leave?
I just want to co-sign on what Cleveland said. If there's one thing that I have noticed as of late, and there are a number of reasons. One is because, vanity. I still look good for my age. Let me go out there and see what other options are out there. Others, we've been conditioned into this really selfish mindset, and it's all about us. And if it's not all about us, I could care less. I give 0 F. All this other kind of mindset where we want to microwave everything. We still want to buy into the fantasy of a relationship aren't just going to be stress free. And this is why it was never designed that way, because we have our moments just like other people have their moments. And so, you don't want to get to a space where you're only thinking about you. A relationship is to relate. You go into a relationship to give, not just focus on receiving. And by that, you will receive so much more. So as Clem said, you stop this mindset of, the first time things get a little rough, you want to throw in the towel. There's some things, as as in anything in life, I don't care if it's a certain school, if you're joining the military, if you're starting a business, you are going to have some challenges. And it's no different in the space of relationships. But for two people that believe in each other and understand that you're both coming into this not perfect, no matter how much work you put on yourself, trust me, it will be worth it. It will be worth it. So, stop listening to your single, miserable friends who are out there trying to get you to give them something that's really worth working on, and take the time. And again, for those of you believers, then you all know the power of prayer and putting in the work. So even if you pray, make sure that you put in the work as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ronnie, so much. That was so helpful. I just hope this whole episode was able to touch someone.
Okay, you're a little shocking here, so I think we should just leave some information. So listen, you can reach me at resultswithronnie@gmail.com. That's resultswithronnie@gmail.com. I have several podcasts. You can go to MrRelationshipMan.com. That's MrRelationshipMan.com. And also, you can go to DatingDiscussionsLive.com. That's DatingDiscussionsLive.com. And with that podcast, which is on both on YouTube, like and subscribe and share on both platforms, that you'll hear from a woman, a very confident woman, Yashika Foster, who is absolutely phenomenal in this space as well. And she could relate to the ladies that may have some sort of challenges as you're working through this, if by some chance you feel that you'd rather not hear from me. But also, more importantly, make sure that you take this podcast and you share. She has a lot of great episodes. So this is a shameless plug here to you, Kalima. Truly, you're doing good work. And not just this episode, but ladies and gentlemen, listen to the other episodes that she has, because she has some very engaging topics I think we all need to, especially in our community, need to address. But now you have a way that you can reach out to me, and I'd be more than happy to provide you with other resources, book a consultation, and or coaching along with that. And again, I thank you, Henry, for that as well, for the opportunity to share. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Have a wonderful morning, wonderful afternoon, wherever you are. And again, thank you, Kalima. I'm honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Lady K.